Are you ready? I'm Steve from 1233D. Today we are going to be doing an unboxing for the AnyCubic Kobra 3 combo, kindly sent to us via AnyCubic to make this video. It will be a very straight to the point video so that we can get it out to you guys as quickly as possible prior to the actual launch of this machine. Without further ado, let's dive in. I shall remove the box from the table and place it on the floor because I do feel that that will be easier, so bear with me. First impressions, packaged very well, a nice thick piece of foam, instruction manual, a little bitty bag of goodies, leads, more leads, more leads, some bracketry, if that's the correct term, a screen, appears to be a spool holder, extruder. I do feel I have to pull the whole lot out of here because getting this out of the box separately is going to be impossible. Come on! Move the box out of the way. So, to be fair, again, really well packaged. So we shall put this to one side for now. Okay, printer. And the AnyCubic Ace Pro. We've unpackaged it, got rid of all the foam, removed everything from the box, and we shall proceed to check what's in the bag, and then obviously follow the instructions along for assembly and get it up and printing. So, bags appear to be labelled quite nicely. This one's number 1, print head cable. Number 4, for print wiper. Couple of spanners. Number 2 is for the print head. Some Allen keys, 2 screws for the screen, a very small quantity of white PLA, some clips, a nozzle cleaning needle, PTF tube, USB pen drive, another clip it appears to be for the PTFE tube, so we'll find out where that goes. Little sachet of grease, I assume that's the quality control card, so it's been checked. So that's everything out of that bag. Quick glance through the manual. I think the first point will be to install the print head, number 1. So in the instructions, they are quite clear, to be fair. It does show an exploded view here that basically gives you the number at the top, so that's the number of the bag that you want. So in this case, we want it says number 1, but that is in fact incorrect. We want bag number 4. It's 4 M3 screws, which is clearly those. So just move the extruder to the middle, lower it a bit so I've got access to all the screw holes. The extruder, so literally at the back of it, as you can see, the stepper motor's at an angle, the plate's cut out at an angle. Looking, these 2 top holes are actually keyed, so in theory we can partially insert those screws into the extruder and then it should just drop into place. Top tip. So just proceed then to slowly thread in the other screw slightly below the stepper motor. Everything's quite nicely marked. They've circled the holes with what appears to be white paint, so you actually know where the screws are going, so there's no guesswork. Snug all those down. Okay, just some observations while I'm assembling the machine. AnyCubic, very similar to Elegoo, have opted for metal V wheels on the X-axis, which is a better option in my opinion. You've got a nice milled profile here that they'll glide along. It just takes out the wear and tear from your normal POM nylon wheels, if you like. I've noticed that's a little bit slack, but we shall get around to adjusting those before we get it going. So, that's that part done. We shall move on to step 2, which is telling us now to install the screen. So screen is 2 countersunk 16mm 4s, which is those 2. The bracket is pre-installed on the machine already, and it does appear to be adjustable, so you can adjust the tilt angle of it if you want to. Little serial connector in the back, obviously the plug's there. Then what we'll do first is we'll actually fix it to the machine and then plug the screen in. I have to say the overall finish of it is quite nice looking. So it's done. Pop the screen in. That's all clipped in. So next it is showing us to connect this PTFE tube to this little clip. This will be for single filament use. Number 4, which is install the purge wiper, which is this little chap. Looking in the bag, you've actually got a machine screw, the normal screw. It's telling us that we want the 1-piece M3 10mm screw, which is this one. Again, there is a little pin that locates into the back of the carrier, and then the other hole that you put the screw in again is marked with a white circle. That's that installed. Spool holder, quite self-explanatory. Push it in, twist it. This literally just slips onto the back of the machine. That's that. So next it says Connect the print head cable. Press the print head cable down and insert into the groove. Then use the number 4 bag of screws, turning clockwise to secure the cable. So this little plug has 2 holes. I mean, effectively it's a USB-C. All we're going to do with that is pop that straight into the top of the extruder, he says. There we go. A little bit of a wiggle. Slides in. And secure it in place with these 2 screws. These are very thin screws. So my only word of advice when you're doing this is to be careful that you don't accidentally drop them and they disappear inside the extruder, because then you have a very bad day. So I don't think these want to be overly tight. They're just literally to hold the plug into the socket to make sure that obviously while it's printed it doesn't come loose. All good. Next step. It's saying about a buckle and I cannot see a buckle. So it isn't a buckle. It's the plug. Literally plugs in to the bottom of the actual motor housing here on the front of the machine. So that's just the little clip buckle, locking lever, tab, whatever you want to call it, faces forwards, pop it in, locks into place. So next up is to install the Ace Pro. This cable, one end you've got 4 pins, the other end you have 6 pins. On the front of the machine there is a little rubber cover. So pop that open, spin it around out of the way. There is a 4-pin socket. So this 4-pin cable, we pop into that socket, lock in place. On the back of the unit, the 6-pin into the lower hole. There's 2 holes on it. You've got a 4-pin hole and a 6-pin hole, obviously. The other end of the cable plugs into the 6-pin. So now we shall move on to installing the PTFE tube. They are quite long, very long. There is a little bag of clips, brackets, so you can have them tidy. So these are just push fit. Literally push it in till it's home, and then obviously if you want to get it out you'll hold the collar down and remove the tube. So make sure that's pushed home. So these are all held in with the traditional little blue clip. The same fittings on the back, but so these are a little bit more fiddly. So this is just a clip that literally just slips into the side of the X-axis. Has some little holes in there that I assume, he says, it shows you can. There we go. So it's just to make everything neat. Try the other way. That's actually easier. So push these in from the top. Just in case you're interested, all I'm doing here, these holes, I'm just mirroring what I've put in these holes here, just so it makes it a little bit more easy to identify what's where if we ever need to swap anything around. Last one. And now I'll just fit these, clip the cable straight in. Next, interesting, elastic adjustment. So I think that refers to belt tension. Check if the print bed is shaking. If it is, adjust the hexagonal isolation column located underneath the print head until it slides smoothly without shaking. In simple terms, guys, this means if the extruder moves around, nip up the eccentric nut on the bottom of the extruder. The terminology is obviously a little bit lost in translation. Literally on the bottom of the extruder, under there is an eccentric nut. You want to be making sure that the extruder has no wobble and it moves nice from side to side. In this case it does, but I don't need to do anything. I have, however, noticed that some of these are a little bit loose. That wheel in particular is very, very loose. This side isn't too bad. The lower wheel isn't that bad, but it could do with nipping up a bit. So on the inside, very easy to get to. Take the spanner, and all we're going to do is just slowly turn. Literally, that is it. But there, it wasn't even an 1/8 of a turn. Now we've got a little bit of friction on the rail, but not too much, so they're not trapped. Wheels done. So the next thing it's asking us to do is check the bed. Make sure there's no real bad play in the bed and it moves freely, in which again that does. If it doesn't, underneath the bed you will see a couple of eccentric nuts, and you just want to be just slowly turning them, not only a little bit at a time, and just keep checking until you remove any excess play. So we're good to go on that one. Belts. Please manually move the print head and the print platform. If there is any difficulty or abnormal noise during the movement, adjust the tensioner to ensure smooth sliding of the print head or platform. This moves really, really freely. And I can feel the belt on the back. That appears to be absolutely fine. The one on the bed, again, is absolutely fine. Always, when you're using the machine, obviously, these need periodically checking and adjusting, which is very simple. Just turn the knob a little bit on each one that you need to tighten. So I'm just looking, I would like to tidy these cables. So that just literally clips in there. So now it appears that we are time to power up. So I'll clear off the table, I'll get the USB drive, we'll get it set up and see what the thing does. Everything cleared away. One thing I have noticed, really trivial, and you've probably already got some, but if you haven't, this machine did not come with a set of side cutters, which is very, very unusual. Every machine I have unboxed has side cutters. We're going to load the unit up with some filament, obviously after we've powered it on and followed the setup procedure. So here we go. Always a good sign when things make noises. First off, a very nice illuminated logo on the extruder. Quite a stylish little touch. We shall remove the film menu. It's quite a crisp, sleek looking display, to be fair. Obviously we've got language here, Chinese, English. Next, then we've got area, global or China. So we shall click on global. Next, Wi-Fi scanning. It has instantly picked up our network, but for now we're going to skip this step. Cloud. Right, so one thing I've noticed in the manual, AnyCubic have offered a cloud app, but for now we shall skip this step. We'll do a more in-depth video on this one once we've obviously got the machine set up and we've tested and used it a bit. So for now we will skip. AnyCubic for freedom to make, with a very nice looking graphic. Enjoy your 3D printing. Next, insert U-disc USB. So it's showing a picture of the front of the machine where we've plugged in the unit to. Insert the U-disc correctly according to the diagram, showing on the diagram to connect it into the left-hand slot. Done. It is literally now doing what it needs to do. So this item here is going to basically clean the nozzle. Obviously with it purging filament, when it does a colour change, there will be times that it needs to clear that. Just while this is going through the check. So the build plate claims it is suitable for PLA, ABS and PETG. It's also a double-sided PEI sheet, which is quite nice. Some of the other leading manufacturers do a very similar thing. The back of the actual plate appears to have a rubber nozzle cleaning mat. We'll see all of these things once the machine is up and running. Currently it is auto offset calibrating, so basically it's calibrating the Z offset. Got a nice light shining down on the build plate, which is always handy, especially if you're going to add a camera to the machine for time lapse or remote monitoring and whatever. It's always nice to be able to see what you're printing. There is definitely not a probe there, so I do feel it is I can't see any strain gauges on the bottom of the bed. So I'm assuming it is on the nozzle. So the nozzle will have a pressure sensor built in, which is quite a reliable and nice feature. Now it's started its process. The actual fan noise seems to be acceptable. It's not overly loud. I mean, we're not printing anything yet. We'll see if that changes once we start. A couple of things to note that I have picked up on. You have got dual cooling either side of the nozzle via 2 ducts, which is nice. You've got slots down the side of the extruder and the top and even the bottom, so it can draw air in, blow the air through the fan that you can see situated behind there. What else do we have? So this lever here, there's a screw hole through the side of the extruder that says tighten, so obviously you can adjust the tension on the extruder gears without having to take the whole thing apart. So imagine what it's currently doing is it'll now be probably waiting for the nozzle to heat up to the right temperature before it starts doing its probing. Quite a nice thick cable as well from the heated bed that goes back to the machine. Again, some other manufacturers have suffered with this very part of machines. Doesn't look like it's going to be a problem here, but time will tell, I guess. Very nice looking unit. It has a nice slidey locky lever, so unlock, clear sign that it's unlocked, slide it right across as it clicks. One thing I've noticed with this unit, I can only assume that the filament is going to be drawn through via no mechanical gears inside the actual box. There'll be motors actually built into the unit that will pull the filament through. But ultimately, for anybody that's been ever worried or cautious about using cardboard spools in colour changing modules, this would not be a problem for this, because there's no mechanical parts inside this box. So there is going to be no wear caused by cardboard or cardboard fluffing up gears. Currently preheating to 180 degrees, wiping the nozzle. Step 3, begin probing. Okay, so I've just loaded in some filament, really simple. Pop the spool in, make sure it's located properly. Right at the front of the unit, there's a little orange square with a hole in it. You literally poke the filament into there, the machine automatically picks up that it's there and starts to feed it in. I repeated that with all 4 slots. So we'll close that up, lock the lid, and see what the screen says. It is asking us to load filament. Insert the filament into the first feeding port, and as if by magic, I've done nothing. It has picked it up and it is now loading that in. Here we come, we can see it coming through. There we go. So we have the infamous poops popping out the side of the machine. It is now purging the filament through. I can see it on the tray. So it's probably going to be worthwhile having a nice little container sat at the side just to catch those. So we're done on that part. We shall click next. It is about to start resonance compensation. Please place the printer smoothly and avoid other sources of insonance. So the machine is now going to do input shaping, basically vibrate, and what it's asking us to do is to make sure that the machine is away from other sources of resonance, so other sources of vibration. This is a pre-release version. I'm pretty sure that these spelling errors will be ironed out in the actual released version. It has spelled it right on this screen, which is a win. Detecting the resonance, do not touch the printer. So again, for this part, you want to have a good solid flat surface. So a very clear indication that the machine is running Clipper, which most modern printers are. So we can expect a relatively high speed and high quality print performance from the machine. But as I say, these are all the things that we'll discuss in the in-depth review once we've actually used it a bit more and explored and played with it in more detail. Should you be interested in this video so far and you like the look of this machine and you believe that it would fit into your 3D printing arsenal, or you're new to 3D printing and looking for a multi-filament printer and you want to consider this, by all means don't forget to like and subscribe and check out 123d.co.uk. Also, all the graphics on the screen are quite crisp and nice looking. Okay, so it's telling me now finish, so I shall click the button and we are in the main menu. So it's defaulted open to the settings tab where I've got the options for guide, language, about machine, system restore, support, cloud, screen off, fan, print option. So I'll go over to the little print logo where I've got now an option to print. This looks like the color unit, basically telling me box state. The box is currently at 22 degrees, so that's quite nice. It gives you that information right here. You've got the option for drying, a drying timer, filament backup. What else do we have? And the color selections. It's nice that they've added the fact to the actual Ace Pro that it is effectively a filament dryer as well as a color changing unit, and it's good that they've allowed you the option here to set a timer. So for you guys that are wanting to print PETG and stuff like that, that is really needs to be dried prior to printing, you can effectively set this up, let it dry the night before you're going to print, and you know when you come to start the machine you're ready to go. Filament backup, what that will mean is when one bank runs out, it will automatically feed in the next bank. If you're going to run out of filament, or you do run out of filament, you can switch it over to the next spool of filament, which is a godsend to all of these people that have hundreds and hundreds of tiny bits left on a spool that is not enough to print anything big with. So you can use up all your empty spools and have zero waste. So on the tools menu, we've got the normal run-of-the-mill type stuff that you'd expect to see. Nozzle temperature, hotbed temperature. It looks like there's a preheat selection for ABS and another one for PLA, and then you've got the cooling button, a little tab, another tab at the top, which is to move your axes, so you can jog the machine whatever directions you want. You can disable the stepper motors because you never want to move the machine around manually with them engaged. And there's a home more button, and then you've got control. So again, this takes you back to auto leveling, resonance calibration, PDI calibration. So that's already been done, taken care of. We shouldn't really need to do anything about that. So let's see if there's anything on the actual machine ready to print. So it's under local. So I don't know if it's actually stored on the USB or it's like a model pre-sliced on the actual machine itself. So it says test model. We shall click that and we have a series of test models. Just got to do the benchy. Okay, we shall do the benchy. So benchy here, estimated print time 11 minutes 29 seconds. Now if that is actually accurate, that puts this machine quicker than the Ender 3 V3 KE. Let's press print and see how it goes. So it's asking me, what colour do I want? So I can select the number, print, see what happens. We've just completed the first print on the machine. It's printed successfully. It took exactly the amount of time that it specified on the screen, which was a little over 11 minutes. Overall, first impressions of this machine, the quality is very, very good. The aesthetical look of the machine, spot on. The extruder has a little magnetic latch on the side that basically when the extruder moves over to it, the magnet hits, then it flicks the filament waste outside. But we'll do a lot more playing and testing with this machine, ready for the in-depth deep dive review. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. Drop us a comment if you've got any questions regarding this machine or any other machines from our range, and please be sure to check us out at 123-3d.co.uk. The link is in the description.
As always, we aim to have the most competitive 3D printer prices in the UK. If you see any of our printers being sold by a mainstream UK retailer for less, please drop us an email using the link in the description and we will do our very best to beat their price.